What's up, guys? Live here at Pro Play Games with our ARG Dragon Ball Super Champion, first ever champion. This is the first ever regional. He went all the way to Hartford, Connecticut from Miami, Florida. He's a local here, plays here all the time. You can see the deck profiles on the video. And he went with two other teammates representing Pro Play Games, our local shop, and he took it. He took it home with one of the top premier decks in the format right now. What were you playing, man?
I was playing Blue-Green Cell, which is, it wasn't my first pick, but basically, like, it was too strong not to play. After much testing, we just decided that's the deck to go with.
Excellent. You were known as a Blue Vegeta here, a player for a long time here.
All of set 1 and most of set 2 until basically the regional.
Nice. All right,
let's like a week ago.
Let's check out what you used to take down the field of 200 plus players.
All right. For the main deck, it was 4 baby cells. Self-explanatory. You just put an Android 17 and you can summon a 5 or lower cell on it. Then 4 of the mid cell. This guy's almost more broken than the one that drops your hand at 3 because on summon he pops a card, so he's spot removal and he draws you, so you don't even neg by evolving into him or unions or whatever it's called. Yeah, he's insane. Then the reason this deck is insane, or the reason Vegeta cannot be played is because this guy says everything Vegeta does is wrong, because he'll drop your hand down to 3, and it's such a good card that yellow was all over this tournament. Everyone was playing yellow. But this card is so strong that even when they were bloodlusting me, they couldn't do anything about it. I still a 30k beater.
But you got bloodlusted a few times against that tricolor Ginyu deck.
Yeah, I
played top 4?
Top 8 and top 4. Both of them were Ginyu tricolors. And I played 2 more in Swiss. They were all literally, yellow was everywhere. 2 Power Stealing Cell. As a team, we chose to play this one over... Well, we were doing one of this one and one of the Turn Pack 1. We dumped the other one because this one helps you be more control, as it also affects your opponent's hand as well as waking you up if they leave you at 5. Then one of the best cards in this deck, the Android 17. Most people are like, oh, it's just a promo, whatever. It's just an extra name, but it's really good because, especially since yellow is everywhere, they have really little spot removal before turn 4. So you just summon this guy and just start swinging at them, and even if they bloodlust you, they'll waste their awaken, or they're just taking damage for no reason. I would have played 4, but I only had 3, so then I just played 1 more of this guy. Then 4 18s, standard. I don't play any of the big drop androids because they're just bricks at the end of the day. Regardless, they're just names. Android 20 is what lets you place such a low android count because he's basically 8 of... You have 8 of each because he just searches out whichever one you're missing. The biggest difference between, well, by biggest I mean the only difference between me and my teammates, Android 16, which basically it was the only open spot because you could either play KO, more Android counts if you felt, or at 16 I felt was better because my worst matchup is anything aggro that beats me before I could lower their hand or anything, so Android 16 keeps me in those games.
Did you regret playing it? Would have you went back on your decision on this? Because this is not, I mean, it's something that people played at the beginning, then dropped,
yeah,
and then
it fell out of
in the
favor.
side deck now.
But I actually went against one meta cooler in Swiss, and it helped out then. And it's just a good card regardless. I sided in KO, and it was just as efficient. Like it was mostly just mana and a 5k boost. Like it's an empty slot in the deck. 3 cells birth, 4 gets 2 cloggy, especially since you're not guaranteed going first, because this is your only turn 1 play if you draw it. So 3 was good enough to see it when you needed it, and it came through a lot in Swiss because I wouldn't see the baby cells, so I was selling them, cell comboing them with the mid drop, dropping it out as a 3. The best green card, TN. That guy awakens you, turbos their deck in insane amounts. You're going like turn 2 or turn 3 with like 10 cards in hand to your opponent's 3 because you knocked it down. Staple, the 10k boost. That's it for green. The blue cards are 4 Weeds Coercions, 4 Sensus, and 3 Jackos. 3 Jackos is what we went with in the main because over Boo, because you need to leave, like you don't want to charge more than 1 blue energy, and if you have Boo, you can never play it after turn 1. And Jacko lets you in the mirror bounce their TNs and slow them down. That's the main deck. For the side deck, 2 Gohans for the mirror, and I guess anything blue or like anything with big drops that you want extra spot removal in, but mostly the mirror because you side out the 16s. Kale for token decks and anything that just a bunch of small cards. More 16s for anything that's like aggro or just cooler decks or anything that's charging your face. This was one of the more techier ones. It never really came in because it was meant for androids and just the pure Ginyu deck. So, because your leader can only get rid of one with his effect. So you get rid of one with leader, one with attacking, and then one with his effect. So you get rid of 3 creatures in 1 turn thanks to this card. Then the extra stealth burst, when going first, you side it in to just see a bit more. Make your turn 2 combo more consistent. 3 Pilaf and a Jocko is the only things we side for blue. Basically, like, depends on the matchup whether you want more Jockos, whether Sensu's not good enough. Pilaf is just a really good card. The best card in the side deck had to be Champa. It won me every game 2 that I sided it in. Nobody sees it coming. They're at 1 life. They feel safe. You swing with your leader. And it's not even their fault. Like, even if they negate it, then you just summon your big drop, drop them down, and they lose anyway. So it's a card where, like, it gave you more win cons than just the one that this deck originally has.
Yeah, to a point that we thought you were maining that card because you were just killing everybody with that card.
Yeah, yeah. It was an instant side in every game. Yeah. For shoutouts, I really want to shout out Dyron. That guy is literally like the brain behind this entire deck. Like, he was like, oh, I have this great idea. He gave it to us, and we just tested it hours upon hours to the point where David, my cousin, who top 3, and him, who was in top 16 as well, they were sure they were gonna play that deck, and I was like, nah, I don't like Cell. So I was playing like every build, and all I did was make the deck stronger, like giving them how to play the matchups and stuff. So I just conformed. I was like, yeah, that's definitely the best deck. And then other shoutouts for the players are Roach, Steven Roach for the 17s. Like I said, I only had 3, and if it wasn't for him, I would have 0. And Gio Gonzalez for the power stealing Cell. Again, this has to be at 2. It's a great card. Even 3 is questionable. Like it's just such a good card to keep the tempo of like negating their hands, because sometimes they like to drop their hands to 3 anyways. So instead of going to the 7 drop, you go to that and you drop them to 2. So that's really good. And last shout out I want to give is to Pro Play Games, because they're my local shop. I come here every Saturday when they have their promo tournaments. If you've seen this channel, you've probably seen me before as well. And I'd like to thank Ultra Pro. Their sleeves always, they're pretty efficient. They always come through. It was the ones I use in Swiss, and they came in clutch. So it was definitely the best pick for this, and I don't regret it, obviously.
Awesome, man. Well, we couldn't be more proud of you. Definitely a local player, also sponsored by us. We also do have international and players all over the region that represent us, but having a local guy that comes to every single one of our tournaments just meant so much more to us, and it was the most pure victory that could have ever happened. Also, after this, do you have any feedback about the event, how it was ran? It was best 2 out of 3. I know we never ran 2 out of 3 here at Pro Play Games because we had so many players, and we would probably be here till midnight.
The first tournament we ever did, we did 2 out of 3, and it started at 3 and ended like at 1 o'clock in the morning. And it's because we split top 8, like top 4 or something. Like it was
exactly.
It was
so this was a totally different experience. You didn't really have too much practice with sideboards and stuff like that. So it was something that you weren't 100% prepped with, and maybe the sideboard wasn't the best that it could be. But what were the pros and cons to this event, and how was it ran, and what were some difficulties or adaptations that you had to do throughout the tournament?
The best, I agree 100% with it being best of 3. Best of 3 allowed me to make my main deck 100% what I wanted it to be, while having a side deck that kind of like responds to whatever matchup I might find. While in best of 1 tournaments, my main has to have like random like tech cards in order to like be ready for anything that might show up. So best of 3 allows me to be more like make a better main deck and focus on the sides and stuff. It ran really well. There's people complaining about time, but I could tell you, in 12 rounds, I only went 12 rounds because 8 Swiss, the 4 in the top. I only went to 2 game 3s and time once. Like time was not an issue. I played infinite control decks, 4 Ginyu, tricolors, 1 Frieza that was the lemon lime, the green and yellow. Like I faced against everything, and time was never a problem. I was doing my turns, they were doing theirs.
What was your record at the end of the whole event?
Well, I went X2 in Swiss, and then I won out in top cuts. So,
what were your losses?
My losses was a red blue cell where the only green cards were TN and and the 10K boost because they were playing the whole Mighty Mask engine, and I actually went against that guy in top cut on top 16. And it's just what happened in Swiss is I had not tested against that deck, so I wasn't sure how to play it, and it came back to bite me. That was as early as round 2. And then my other loss was another cell deck, but they weren't playing any of the cell cards, just the Broly engine. And it just caught me by surprise. And like, he was dumping my hand faster than I was dumping his, and then that's basically, yeah. Cell's worst matchup is another cell that's doing something different because they could replenish their hands. Like, you have to play it differently completely. Like, it's one of those things where you have to play depending on what they have, not like your strategy goes like to the side.
And how was your day one experience? Like I said, this is the first regional,
yeah,
so pretty much tell the guys how this whole thing ran and how smooth was it, how long was it, how was it mentally taxing, any of that stuff. It
was fine. It's definitely different from a best of one, but I felt like it was all right because despite how to explain it, basically. The rounds were an hour long, but usually, like for example, I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Where the rounds were 40 minutes, and then time would extend another 40 minutes, and then the day would take forever. They did the 8 rounds super quickly. Everybody's finished. Time was enforced perfectly. There wasn't like anybody's like slow playing that I was aware of, and every round was starting. I think we finished day 1. People were saying like, oh, it's gonna end like at midnight, 11. It ended like, I think it was like 6 or 7, maybe 8. And then Top Cut finished at 1:30. Everything, like all the pictures, everything, all the prizes were handed out by 1:30. And it started as early as 8 in the morning. But everything was done as fast as possible. Everything went smoothly. I didn't see any issues.
Awesome, cool. And then you and David also were able to meet with Bandai, the representatives from Bandai from Japan. How was that experience? Tell us a little bit of what went down there.
It was different because at first Jim asked like, oh, do you guys want to take pictures? Like they asked Bandai if they wanted pictures with us, and they said no. And then later on they looked for us. But they're really nice people. They seem like they care. They're to show up to every event. They're like making sure that the game prospers, and hopefully it keeps on prospering because it's a fun game, and so far it's really good.
Yeah, a lot of people, because it's a new game and this is like the third run at it, a lot of people are very skeptical about getting into it. But the investment is so low in this game and the payout is so high. I mean, you got, 4 tournament packs just for entering. You ended up walking away with 25 of them, which is easily $500 worth of, on top of the $400 cash that you got. So if you guys are ever thinking about going to a regional, Orlando's the next one. They're out of tournament packs, but they're extending the registration up another 100 seats. So we're already at 200, and it's like 2 weeks away. So super great game, super cheap to play, and if you played Yu-Gi-Oh! Like Alejandro has, it's a very easy transition from almost any card game. They've made it very easy to play.
It has a little bit of everything in it. Whether you played Magic, Vanguard, everything. There's an aspect of every card game in this one.
Yeah, and if you follow Dragon Ball, like almost, I think I haven't met somebody who doesn't really follow Dragon Ball. Then it just gives another satisfactory, when you play the game, and almost anything's playable. So once again, fantastic job. First regional taken down by Pro Play Games. As you guys know, we have all the singles. We support our players as much as possible, and we carry all the singles to make them successful at the game. So if you guys haven't checked out our online store, make sure you check that out, and you'll definitely see all of us at the ARG Orlando in about a week from now. Now, one more thing, draft boxes. I asked David about this already, but they come out on Friday. What are your thoughts on that? I know it's only 4 new rulers, but all of them seem pretty relevant. I mean, 2 are extremely relevant. The other 2, I'm not so sure about how relevant, Goku and Majin Vegeta. But I know Gotenks and Mecha Frieza are going to be changing some things, and it's going to be changing your thought process and choices going into the ARG.
100%.
I mean, I know you don't want to spoil the whole thing, but just give us a little bit of info on how that's going to be changing.
I feel like Orlando's going to be a different format, 100%, than the one we had in Hartford. Just the leaders, they bring out a new thing where like certain decks either have to adapt or they're just out of the water. Like you can't go in, like I can't walk in with this deck and hope to win that tournament when everything's just changing completely. And then now that everybody knows this deck, they're gonna prepare for it too. So that's
Also, there's gonna be a new influx of promos now. You got promos from everyone who played in the ARG, and then you got promos from the draft box, which are gonna be tournament 1 promos. So you're gonna have these guys have a lot more access to these promos that may swing things a whole different way. As you know, in this game, promos can give you the slight advantage because they're so hard to get, and a lot of them are very pricey. So now, as you see the cost dropping, as you see the demand increase and the supply increase, you're going to be seeing a lot more people bust out these decks that you probably never seen before. So what do you think about that, and like, is that going to affect really anything that you play, or anything else that you're going to have to prepare for?
Not really. Like, there was a discussion on Facebook where they're like, oh, why promo should be alternate arts instead of like actual like cards, but I agree that, not that they should be alternate arts, but I'm fine with the promo system. Like, it gives a reason for players to play. They're technically accessible to everybody as long as you win, and honestly, there's not a promo out yet that's like, oh, if you got this promo, you're gonna beat everybody. They're pretty, like, somebody mentioned win more, and I agree. Like, the Android 17, for example, he's a really good card. It helped out in some matches, but most of them, they're just names. They're just extra names, extra cards. They look nice, that's for sure.
Well, what looked nice is definitely this championship trophy, which we're going to add to our mantle here at Pro Play Games. So super, super, super proud of you once again. And we're looking to defend our crown at ARG. So if anybody thinks that they can take that from us, definitely we'll see you there. Thanks again, and congrats again on the win, man.
Thank you.
Peace.